Hi there. Hello. Sanbanan bandla. Dumelang bakhaithu molweni bethuna nda. Hola. Bonjour à tous. De la part de JABULILE BUTHELEZI-KALONJI, memeerve pour l'année nouvelle. I wish you and your family all wonderful things in the year 2025. Just remember to pray about all of them. Ngiyabonga, obrigado, ngiyaleboga enkosi kakhulu, asanteni sana, merci beaucoup, God bless. My challenges in 2024 were quite plenty, like any other normal person who lives in a dynamic and rapidly changing socioeconomic landscape of South Africa, also who's an entrepreneur operating in the creative economy, a sector that's quite dynamic, a bit saturated if you like, trying to balance yourself, my corporate side, my creative side, and constantly trying to balance all these balls in the air, and trying to stay sane and alive while giving as a mentor, as a wife, as a sister, as a daughter, as a friend. And I must tell you that some balls perhaps did fall a bit because I'm not a machine. I am just a human being. Perhaps the health ball at some point also took a huge knock. I've had to reconsider priorities. I've had to reconsider some form of recluse by making very difficult decisions of withdrawing from certain projects that were really demanding a whole lot of my focus and energy that I probably did have but did not need to carry any further because of the strain they were putting on the health and the expense they were coming with regards to other more urgent priorities that I should have had. Certainly it's led to a number of significant decisions, I must say. Including one of those decisions of my resignation from office as the director for the student development cluster at SDASA at the end of October, early November. I suppose as a result of some of the decisions and I guess just challenges throughout the year, from a personal point of view, one gets to a point where you have to find some recluse and re-establish ground, prioritize also what one of the key factors about your journey as a mentor, as a wife, as a youth worker, as a professional, as a leader, as a daughter, sister, and friend. All of these things belonging all to one pot. At some point, there comes a time where one has to be able to evaluate the bandwidth that each of these things currently have and how far this bandwidth can go based on a number of circumstances. And I think among many other decisions I took that were key, I have had to, drop a few balls and let them park and let other people perhaps take over and lead them into the greatness they need to get to. And certainly SDASA is one of those, being able to vacate office early November, and being able to, I suppose, close down on a number of things that even used to bring money to me, because that's how significant the challenges were and the journey was. And I believe in doing things that way because that's an act of a true leader. As a leader, you've got to be able to re-establish yourself constantly, and be able to re-establish how to change the game and re-strategize on your life and your journey so that you're able to be in a better position to make better impact, not just for yourself, but also for yourself, starting with your family, right? Because all of these offices we serve and give to, we do this at the pleasure of our families and in agreement with our families, over and above the fact that we understand that we gifted people and God calls us to certain spaces at certain times to be able to do a particular thing. I believe that once you've delivered what you meant to do and what God has called you to do, it's always a good idea to step aside and allow others who are more capacitated than you to take over and take it to the next level or do whatever they will with it. So certainly that's been perhaps, I'd say, one of the resulting factors to the journey of challenges in 2024, among many others, of course. What were my learnings? My learnings were Certainly, number one, being able to be honest. Be honest to myself more than anything. There's a whole lot of people who are saying awesome things on social media about many things, and they're always so profound. But being able to be honest to yourself as an individual, to me, is the first form of respect to self. If you're not honest with yourself, I don't understand how you can even engage anybody at an honest and authentic level in this world and be able to even function as a person, let alone interact with other people, if you can't be honest with yourself and look in the mirror and say, this has to end, this has to park, this needs to stay, this needs to go. This is who I am, this is who I am not. If you can't have those conversations authentically and honestly with yourself, then I'm not sure what you're doing. I've had to get to that point, and it was not a new point. That's one thing I always advocate for. Being honest to self is one of my first priorities and one of my most difficult things to do, but I always try to do them yearly, because that's the only way you can constantly stay solid and focused and grounded to who and what you are when you are honest to yourself. So those were certainly one of the learnings this year, being honest to myself about everything else. I've had to tell myself the truth. So by the time you tell me the truth, thanks, but it's pretty insignificant because I'm honest with myself, because I try to listen to what God is trying to tell me or would like to tell me or is telling me. Try to be still and create that space and environment mentally, spiritually, and emotionally for myself to be able to take in and first of all hear what he's trying to tell me. And that's how I get to decision making. I don't just wake up and decide to do stuff. I believe that I am a very in tune human being. This is why I do the kind of work I do anyway, because I'm a very in sync human being who moves in that regard, right? I believe in that kind of alignment. So I take that quite seriously. And when I make decisions, you must know I just didn't get up because I'm upset because so-and-so said. I don't give a damn about people's opinions. I always focus on the task at hand and what I'm called to do, and I do that, and I always deliver on what I've been done. Never in my life have I left anything half-cooked. Never in my life have I messed up anything or left anything to burn. I think my grandmother would turn in her grave. That's not how she raised me. I have been taught by my grandmother specifically, and I say this in my book, you touch something, you better make sure it moves, and the only movement that thing can take is forward. And rest assured, my track record, I believe, speaks for itself. Professionally and anywhere else I have served as a mentor, as a professional, and just as an individual. So that was certainly one of my learnings, yeah. And I took that with grace, even though some segments of it were painful. But that's the whole point of growing up, isn't it? Sure, what am I thankful for? Certainly family. I'm grateful for my family. People see us show up bold, self-assured, covered in public, on stages we occupy, and they think, I don't know what brings about this sanity, this thing, this position that puts us together. It's family. Family is very important, and I'm so grateful. Nobody falls from a tree. I respect where people come from. Where people come from is very important. It's up to them to either build from whatever good they've learned from where they come from and build forward, disconnect from whatever bad that is part of where they come from, and build differently. It's a choice adults all have to make. It's never perfect where we come from, but we come from somewhere, and that is important to acknowledge. I write about this in my book when I talk about self-government. You can't talk about a person without first checking what they stand for and where they come from. That influences a lot and tells us a lot. So I'm grateful for family. Family is a very important pillar in my life, always has been. And I'm grateful for my husband, Mr. K, who is the first recipient of my stress, my doubt, my anxiety, my excitement, my everything. Whatever I feel, he's the sponge that absorbs all of that first before an external audience. And I am so grateful for the grace he has to be able to do this with so much compassion, so much love. and care, so much boldness, so much strength, and vulnerability when needed. I am extremely grateful for him. I'm grateful for my mother. I'm grateful for my brothers and sisters, and I must say that I'm grateful for my friends as well. I don't have a lot of friends. I'm not a friends person. My friends, I can't even count up to 6. They're probably 5 friends, and they know themselves, and they've been friends for over a decade, some even more than 2 decades. Almost borderline family. And I'm grateful for those people because they've kept me sane and helped me and held space for me, cushioned me and held me tight when I was attacked by people who don't even know me from a bar of soap. When I win, when I fall, when I rise, my friends alongside my family are there. And I think I'm quite blessed in that regard, and I'm very grateful for that. But I must tell you, I am so grateful for each and every single student that I met, university student that is, that I met and encountered over the past 20 months, from 2023 to date. I left SDASA as a director for the Student Development Cluster, and I resigned at the end of October. But I tell you that the impact I have been able to make in this office would have never been possible if students themselves across universities and colleges, including those who are not in the academic space, who are unemployed or just at home but essentially out of the grid, had they not given me an ear or a platform and the opportunity to be able to do what I had to do. Because whatever I had to do was for them. They were the beneficiaries. They were my first and only constituency. And I had to make sure that I work together with them. And guess what? Most of the time, I actually followed their lead. They told me straight to my face, we may not necessarily like the cap you're wearing that you're bringing this time, but Sis Jabu, we know you, we know what you stand for. We have followed your work over the years. We know your heart when it comes to young people. It's evident across Africa and the globe. This is the work I do. I'm not new to it. You know, a decade plus of experience in it. Something God has put on my lap, a ministry I respect and revere greatly, that I honor with time and energy, and I completely devote myself to it. And it helped, I guess, because that's how I got to have them hear me out. I didn't deserve to be heard, because why should I be heard? But I'm grateful for the boldness that they had and the leadership they showed by hearing me out and saying, and how we can help her. Are we even interested in this? But because we know you, and most of them told me straight, this thing we're not sure of, but you and what you are telling us that you want to do and what you stand for and what the strategy is where we are concerned, we are actually quite happy. We have been looking for this. We are excited. Thank you for these interventions. And those interventions were rolled out. Literally almost 90 to 95% of them were rolled out. And I really urge anybody at any given time to visit my Instagram page on my bio and access my SDASA outgoing report, closeout report of the work that elaborates on the work that was done during this 19 months in office. It's been amazing, and I can only be grateful to God and those students for giving me the chance to do that, because without them allowing me the space to do it, I would have never been able to do it, because without them as an audience and recipients, I can't do anything. And they graciously, compassionately took the lead, allowed me the space, allowed me the bandwidth to be able to position, present, develop and execute, and I did this alongside of them. I mean, there's wonderful memories where we've had a wonderful opportunity to engage with the Office of the Minister of Higher Education and Training. Directly they linked and engaged with him. We've had a unique, rare opportunity of linking up with the Office of the World Church, where we directly linked students to their youth leaders directly at the top office. Wonderful experience. And I think for me, what warmed my heart and what continues to live in my heart forever is the feedback I would get after all our sessions, including all these sessions on unemployment, how to do a CV. We've had a lot of interventions. 19 months is quite a long time. And the work that we've done in that space, I think time moves so fast that you wake up one day and you think, shoo, we've been able to cover all of getting their feedback. I think after all our sessions discussing a number of things, I think that was my little gift that will remain in my heart forever. They are, thank you, Sis Jabu, this is wonderful. Sis Jabu, what you've done and what you're doing is just amazing. This is what we've always wished for. This, you really are in our anyway, I made a small little collage for myself because trust me, even outside of office, this gives me strength. I've made a nice collage of those screenshots, and I'm grateful for that opportunity and that experience. What advice do I have for leaders and young people and everybody else in general? Those are many cohorts. Tough question, but I'll attempt to answer it. For leaders, first of all, is don't take young people for granted. Young people are not leaders of tomorrow. Young people are leaders. And I think I can attest to this because I worked with leaders in this office. It was not my first time working with young leaders. In my work throughout the years as a youth empowerment leader, I have encountered amazing young people in and outside the church. And it was a pleasure and an honor to get to SDASA and be given an office to assist with and be able to meet amazing young leaders who are leading SDASMs successfully year in and year out. They are just doing a remarkable job, moving literally by themselves without any form of support. Not all of them have advisory boards. Some literally move really just by themselves. And it's been remarkable to see their resilience, to see their strategic direction and intention in what they do with their own schedules and programs within SDASMs, across all of them, across the spectrum. I was engaged in them from Lesotho to Botswana to University of Venda, University of Johannesburg, all campuses, Free State, Wits, Cape Peninsula, University of Technology, Valley University of Technology. It's been humbling. It's been humbling to meet such incredible minds who half the time they were encouraging me, and in turn I was encouraging them, and it was a wonderful, really, really wonderful opportunity. I think it was a very rare opportunity and blessing that God placed in my life that I will forever take and keep in my heart, and I'm grateful for that. And my advice to leaders is to respect the fact that young people have agency. Young people are not stupid, and when they raise concerns, take those concerns seriously. Don't just create space for them to raise concerns if you're not going to do anything about the concerns that they're raising. Respect them enough to take those concerns and move those concerns forward and effect the change they propose, especially with things that have to do with them and their livelihood. I think that for me is very, very important for leaders to understand in and outside the church, across the spectrum in general. And to the students, I'd say, give leaders a chance. The same chance you gave me, Jabulile, who came knocking with a cap you don't necessarily like, that has some legacy issues, and you told me straight on, hey, this cap you're wearing now, we don't understand, Sis Jabu. We don't like this thing, this organization, we're pretty much okay without it. We are self-sufficient over here. We are good as SDASM. But Sis Jabu, we hear you and what you're proposing. This strategy is what you are talking to us about. We can hear and we understand. And thank you for finding us. Thank you for sharing it with us. Let's see what we can do. Let's move along together. And I think that evidence of that is in the report for anyone to see if they are interested to see the little that we've been able, or much, that we've been able to do in the 19 months during my term there. But I think my advice to students as well, or young people in general, because it's not just a church context thing, really, it's young people in general, even outside the church, is to give leaders a chance. Don't just shut them out because they don't understand us, they don't give us a chance, kill this thing, we don't want to hear it, cut the cord. Let's allow each other some grace, extend some compassion, because the work that we can do when we collaborate is amazing. I have evidence of that just from what happened this year. And I can testify to the fact that when we join hands and do less talking and bickering and blah, 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 to action, 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 together, moving along in one accord, results, they speak for themselves. Beneficiaries can even speak for themselves. I think let's prioritize that, being able to collaborate with others and just give them a chance. When they fail, then we have something to judge them based on, to say, we gave you a chance, you fail. We gave you a chance, you promised, you didn't deliver. And I think that's how young people operate. As much as they may extend that, when they're ready to, make sure you don't misuse it or take it for granted. So it's a matter of being able to hold each other accountable, I think, as people, as human beings, as Christ followers, to each of us keep each other in check with what each is supposed to do to move the gospel of Jesus Christ forward. It's a work we should all be engaged and involved in. And my advice to anybody, I would say, be an honest person. It's easy to lie. Lies are simple. They are very simple. I always say, lies, they are simple, really. You just have to open your mouth and you lie. And that lie can be perpetuated by one of your cronies that support your lie to amplify it and also reiterate it in their own spaces, and the lie moves, and it moves very fast. But it has short legs. Eventually the lie will correct itself, especially when the lie is unfounded and unnecessary and malicious. It will fail eventually. It will die, because the truth always prevails. So try to be a leader, a student, and just an ordinary human being who tries their best to just be honest and tell the truth. And this is not just in terms of rhetoric or perpetuating regressive narratives, but also in just your work ethic. Our work ethos is a reflection of who we are. How we work and serve is what comes from within us. I cannot serve as a youth mentor, as anything in this life, taking from what's not there from within. My work ethos is a part of my value system. If I am incompetent, it's because I don't believe in the fact that you must submit reports, you must deliver, you must be truthful to execute what you've developed and what you've promised. And if I stick to that, to the truth, and deliver and do as I've said, I'm directly speaking to who I am, the character that I am. I am simply just extending it to my work, even the work that does not pay me. This is very important, and I'm so happy that I was able to teach young people this. Your work ethos is a direct result of who you are, your character, especially as a Christian. So make sure there's no big gap between those two things: your character, value system, and your work ethos, rather. There shouldn't be a big gap there, because you are supposed to deliver and be what you are. The excellence you claim must showcase in every single thing you are doing, whether you are paid or not, whether you are attacked or not, whether you are attacked with valid reason or not, whether you are attacked with no reason or not. You must deliver what you've said you'll deliver. And I think for me, it's something I was taught at a very early age, something I carry out throughout my life, have always carried out, and I'm not about to drop it anytime soon for anything. It's a part of who I am. I preach about it literally all the time throughout the year. It's very important. Our work ethos is directly linked to who we are as in our characters. If you do what you say you'll do, people will even trust you with other things that you didn't even know you could do, simply because you are honest. It's also easy to just be an honest person, because then you don't need to have many ghosts because you're just an honest person. Tell the truth, position the facts, and let life carry on as it should. I think it's a very stressless way to live life, and if I may say, probably very godly way to live life. So be honest, be diligent, give your all, don't do half measures. If you're going to do something, do it. Even if you only have 6 months to do it, so that even if you cannot finish the term, you know when you sleep at night, your conscience is clear that you've been able to deliver and you've been able to do the best you possibly can as an individual. That is very important. So yeah, that's my advice. And having said all of that, I hope all these few little nuggets and small brief conversation helps somehow to bring some context to how life is, how to navigate it, and really from basic things, lessons, challenges, what we're grateful for, small advice here and there. We all human beings, we all navigating. Nobody's perfect. We all trying to figure it out. And I just always say, let's extend a little grace as we do that navigation. Let's do it with some grace. Thank you. Take care and God bless.